All right, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're looking into the story of Colonel Tom Parker and Elvis Presley,
Elvis and the Colonel.
based on some information that you sent over
Absolutely.
to
Yeah.
kind of understand their dynamic,
Right.
their relationship.
Yeah.
Was Parker a bad influence on Elvis, or was he a key figure in building Elvis's legacy?
Right.
That's what we're here to find out.
This is one of the big questions that has always followed the Elvis story.
When you hear the name Elvis Presley,
Yeah.
most people are going to say, oh, Elvis Presley, the king.
hmm
But you don't hear as much about Colonel Tom Parker.
Right. Right. And that's kind of interesting.
So let's start with
Yeah.
who was Colonel Tom Parker? Like, where did he even come from?
So Parker actually had a really interesting background. He was already involved in the music scene before he met Elvis.
Okay.
He had promoted other artists, so he wasn't like a nobody. He kind of knew the ropes, knew the business.
So he was an experienced operator, you might
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he saw something special in Elvis, like that raw talent and charisma.
Right.
And he used his experience to help build Elvis's career.
So it was a strategic move on Parker's side, for sure.
Definitely, you could even say it was a partnership. Each brought something unique to the table.
Okay, but people always say that Parker pushed Elvis too hard, made him do too much.
Right. I think it's a bit more complicated than that. I mean, sure, Parker had a strong influence on Elvis's career,
Right.
but Elvis also had his own ambition. He loved performing, especially early on, so it
Yeah.
wasn't just Parker forcing him to work constantly.
Right, and all those performances and that crazy Elvis lifestyle,
Yeah.
Graceland, the entourage, the whole 9 yards.
Exactly. It costs a lot of money to keep that up.
So maybe all that constant touring was a way to support Elvis's, I don't know what you want to call it, spending habits.
It's certainly possible that Elvis's financial needs played a role in the heavy touring schedule. But it's interesting. After Elvis died, Parker moved incredibly fast to manage Elvis's estate and start licensing his image.
Right, almost immediately.
Yeah, he really jumped on it. And while some people saw this as, I don't know, exploitative, it actually helped keep Elvis's memory alive. And, Graceland,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be what it is today without that.
Right, so in a way, he preserved Elvis's legacy,
He kind of wrote the playbook on how to manage a deceased celebrity's estate.
which makes you think, what if Parker hadn't made those business decisions?
Right, what if Graceland had just
Stock
crumbled?
Or Elvis's image had just
Yeah.
faded away.
Yeah, Elvis might not be the icon he is today. Think about it. Without Parker's maybe aggressive business sense, Elvis's estate could have gone bankrupt.
Right, so maybe he wasn't such a bad guy after all.
Yeah, it's not so black and white. Parker was definitely a shrewd businessman, no doubt. And yeah, some of his decisions were controversial, but he played a huge role in making Elvis a star and in keeping his legacy alive.
So all in all, it was a complicated relationship
Yeah, a lot of ups and downs.
with both good and bad sides.
For sure, and it makes you think about how we view other artist-manager relationships. Like, is it always so clear-cut?
Who's really pulling the strings?
Right, is it the artist or the manager?
It's a good question to ask.
Definitely something to keep in mind when we look at these kinds of partnerships.
Well, that was an interesting deep dive.
Yeah, fascinating story.
And thanks for sending over all this information.
You bet.
Really gives you something to think about.
I hope so.
Until next time.
See you then.